start? So some of the highlights of the Accelerated Management Program are really that there's a number of them. One of them is that it's highly flexible. And being flexible, it allows multiple types of organizations, from larger to smaller to organizations that have more geographically dispersed employees. It really allows them the flexibility to have a great program that still meets their size of organization. Another one that's been really popular with the program is its open enrollment. And so what that means is you don't necessarily have to have a cohort base with the virtual program. So you could have new hires, new managers, someone recently promoted. You don't have to have a cohort of 30 people or 20 people or even 15. You can do a lot of the one-off type entry in the open enrollment process. Of course, one of the best part of the highlight is the results, is that ultimately we're seeing people apply what they've learned immediately following the program, but also 6 months down the road when we retest. We're seeing that managers are applying 75 to 85% of what they learned in the programs. So that results, getting 3 times the results of a traditional program, has been just a great component. Another one of the highlights is that people actually like it. Imagine that. We've been through so many programs, or spent most of our careers, where management training was kind of looked at as a little bit of a curse word sometimes. It wasn't necessarily well received. So here we have managers that are excited to be in the program. They get great experience out of it, and it's been just a wonderful piece for them. The other one that's always that tricky piece is, how do we keep the bosses engaged in the program? How do the bosses not abdicate this whole responsibility to HR or training and development or an outside firm or someone else? So the good news about the design of the program is we are seeing a high level of involvement with the bosses, higher than we've seen with any of our programs in the past, in fact. And a lot of that is because the coach reaches out to the boss. A lot of it's how it's set up as well. So part of bringing together so many different learning modalities has created a few issues that we anticipated, but for sure were a factor in the program. When you're bringing into the process assessments, you're bringing into this e-learning, you're bringing in classroom, you're bringing in live virtual training, having the bosses involved, you've got some assignments that they're to complete, and then you have the coaching. There's a lot of logistics that go with that. And so one of the issues that we were concerned about is that the participants or the managers would have so many things to deal with, or so many steps to take, that they would lose sight of the actual value of the process and the coaching. So what we've had to do a lot of internally on our part is make sure that we manage that very smartly, so that we're controlling these elements so that the participant is able to focus on the actual learning process, where we're managing the logistics.
One of the things that Pat and I were concerned about when we rolled the program out was that participants would consider the interactive workbook as pre-work, and we all know how that goes. They wouldn't complete it, or a few would complete it. But we were surprised and delighted that nearly 100% of all the participants complete the workbook. Perhaps another surprise was the number of, or the lack of attrition in the program. The number of managers who completed the program has been very high. And the feedback we're receiving from our managers who've completed is that, that the learning process, the formats, and our approach has been very engaging and been vital to their learning success.